When I first found out I had cancer, I was 36 years old, very active. I was a full-time teacher, worked in a counseling ministry, was very busy. And I remember getting the call at work telling me I needed to come to the doctor, and I said, I don't have time to come in today. Can I make it later in the week? And he insisted no, it'd be today. So I went in and met with my doctor, and he said, you have a compromised bone marrow, and it's pretty serious. You have an appointment with an oncologist tomorrow. And I still remember going, oh, can't you give me a shot or something? Because I'm sure I just need a vitamin A and I would be fine. But I saw the oncologist the next day, and he had me quit work right away. And we did a bone marrow biopsy, and I was diagnosed with APL, which is acute pyelolytic leukemia. It's one of the rarest forms that are out there. Onset to death is 2 weeks. So they caught me around day 10, and I did not feel that sick. When they told me the diagnosis, my oncologist said, I'm going to give you 3 days. You need to say goodbye to your kids. He was going to work very hard to get me into a clinical trial he had just heard of at MD Anderson in Texas. It's funny, and by that I mean surreal, and how a one moment in time just changes everything. But ultimately for the better. My son's best friend had just passed away of cancer about 6 months before. He at the time was in 2nd grade. My daughter was in 6th grade. But they were the first ones we told. We went to Build-A-Bear, and we made stuffed animals that had little voice recorders in them, so the kids could always hear my voice and I could hear their voice. And we just did a lot of fun, silly little things throughout those 3 days. But at the end of the 3 days, I did have to sit them both down and say, my job as your mom is probably done. But if that's what God allows, that is God's best for your life. So while I know you'll be sad, I want you to trust that God's plan is so much bigger. So at the end of the 3 days, then we did go ahead and we were admitted. I was in isolation in the hospital for 2 months, went through heavy duty chemotherapy, and I did get into the drug trial. And it was then that I realized that it is a moment by moment life, and that you need to cherish each one that you have. So little things became really important at that time. When I was finally allowed to go home, it was quite the celebration. We didn't expect it. I was still very sick, but my doctor wanted me to get back home. So I continued on in isolation at my home, and the magic drug that they ended up finding for me was actually arsenic, which I took through a port that I had put in. And I think the doctors and the pharmacists in Michigan were far more nervous than I was when we started those treatments. But I would go in on a daily basis, have them infuse arsenic in for about 6 hours, and then they would send me home, and I would do it all over again the next day. We did that for almost 2 years. Then they added another experimental drug, which is basically just toxic doses of vitamin A. My doctors explained going into this, more than likely it's too late to save your life. But what we'll learn through this process with you could very likely save the lives of people after you. So other than fighting really hard for my family, that was my incentive. So the further we got into the program, I was very excited. There were 30 of us in it. I was the only one who survived out of the 30. I am thankful for every day I've had since then. The fact that so many people do rally together. My parents moved in and took care of my kids and my husband. My family had meals, the American Cancer Society, the Michigan State Cancer Society. We all do come together and we help each other out. And I have very, very, very good friends across the country whom I have never met except through email. But that's because we're all part of this community where we just help each other out. We stand together means there is always somebody there who is going to support me, and I can support them, and together we're going to get through it one way or another.